Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Chua, a physical therapist. And yes, I'm your alternative healthcare career coach. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to write your perfect resume with Joanie Johnson.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.
Good evening, Alternative Healthcare Career Group. Hey, if you are watching live, comment live. Watching on a replay, comment replay. Replay, yeah. Well, anyway, before I go live, before I went live, I had to put on my makeup. You know, see my blemishes there, right? Well, I got this special makeup today. This one here. You put it on your mouth, you're good, or your lips. Well, anyway, speaking of makeup, our topic for tonight is actually how to write your perfect resume. Is that how you pronounce it? Resume, or resume? Well, anyway, before I keep on going, I just want to read this to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you can see it, type in you can see it. Well, there you go. Having a positive impact on people is more valuable than trying to impress them. Oh, there it is. I can see it now. Having a positive impact on people is more valuable than trying to impress them. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, most of us here, we're just trying to impress people. Yeah, I made that mistake too. Don't get me wrong. You know, I buy clothes that are, trying to impress people, but I'm not comfortable in it. Even I was driving a fancy car and I still didn't own a home. That makes sense. You know, a lot of us here, we're like wanting to impress. We just wanted to impress other people that we don't even know, right? I was driving a BMW, a Beamer, and I don't even know who I'm impressing. So I had to change my mindset, ladies and gentlemen. I had to change my mindset. So instead of impressing people, how about giving a positive impact in their lives? That's our goal for tonight. And that's the goal here in our group, ladies and gentlemen, Alternative Healthcare Career Group. The goal is to actually not to impress you, but to impress upon you that if I can do it. I was once called a Filipino ding-dong monkey. I didn't know what a ding-dong monkey was. I thought it was a compliment. She told me hey, you're a ding-dong. It was my fellow co-worker before. I really want to shout out her name, but I don't want to. But the goal here is to not impress you, but to impress upon you that if I can do it, ladies and gentlemen, and impact other people, change their lives for the better, well, guess what? You can do it too. The goal here is to not impact the world, just impact one person at a time. Positive, influential impact inside your area, inside your realm of influence. All right, that's the goal. All right. So anyway, before somebody's calling me, right? In the middle of our Facebook Live. Well, anyway, our guest for tonight, her name is, where did that go? Joanie Johnson. It says here she's a woman with a passion to help others. There you go. Positive impact again. She has a bachelor's degree in occupational therapy from Eastern Washington University. Washington. And a master's in health administration from Portland State University. Oh gosh, she's got lots of degrees. With a specialty in healthcare policy and quality improvement. Gosh, I wanted to say the specialty of her cooking. We're going to ask that later. What's her specialty in cooking? And then she's got like 10 years of professional career experience managing large clinical teams in different settings. So again, she said here, she's got a keen skills in the art of being interviewed and interviewing candidates for variety, spell that, variety, of competitive position. All right, this is too long. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Joanne or Joan Johnson. There you are, sister.
Hello.
What is going on, Joan? I keep on mispronouncing your name. So how are you doing, Joan? Could you please help us how we can find our alternative healthcare career, sister?
Yeah. So I'm Joan Johnson. It's Joanie is my full name, and I go by Joan for short. And I am one of the owners of Polish to Prosper, which is a career consulting business. We specialize in resume writing, interview coaching, small business coaching, LinkedIn optimization, and job search help.
Oh wow! So when you mentioned about job coaching and stuff like that, so I'm gonna pull out your questions here. So where are you based at first? Can you tell us what's your experience and qualification to teach this, Joan?
Absolutely. So I am right outside of Portland, Oregon, and my background is in occupational
Really? I thought you were in New York.
No, Tanya's in New York.
Okay.
We're on opposite sides of the country. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I am on the West Coast. So, and my background, I've worked in pretty much every clinical setting as an OT. And then the last 10 years, I have been working in leadership and management, primarily in home health. And so I've been a clinical supervisor and an operations manager in home health. And so I've been...
You are those mean people, huh? Just kidding.
Yes. So I've been in management and leadership for quite a few years. And then I'm also a private practice owner. So I also own a pediatric private practice that does OT and speech therapy.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't mean that you were mean, but I know you're a good person. So.
Very challenging in itself, for sure. So
I know. I understand. So when you did home health, did you encounter the naughty therapist like me, it's like rebel therapist like me?
I not here and there, but I always felt like home health was such a challenging, it's a very, very challenging setting. And I always felt like people work to the top of their licensure, really. And I have a lot of respect for clinicians that go into people's homes and everything that they see and how they help patients. So
that's the word there. Respect for those people who are working in home health. Type in home health. You are an amazing people. Not all people can do home health, but if you are working in home health, type in home health because we salute you. We appreciate you, especially those people who are actually really, really going to those really not so good areas. So I appreciate you. You keep it up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Joan. Am I pronouncing it right, Joan? I keep on calling you Joanie.
Joanie is my full name, actually, and then I just go by Joan for short. So either one is fine.
All right, so Joan. So I pulled up this thing here. I just wanted to just go again in our session here. How do we position our resume with your target position in mind? I mean, could you explain us how do we do that? I mean, I've been applying for a job. I've been rejected. I've been accepted, rejected, accepted. So how can we decrease the risk of being rejected? Could you please tell us that?
Yes. So one of the key important pieces of writing a resume is having the position and the reader in mind when you're writing the resume. So I remember way back when I first graduated almost 20 years ago, it really wasn't important to have a nicely tailored professional resume because it was so easy to get a position. Basically, you had to have some information on paper. The jobs were plentiful. There wasn't a lot of competition, but things are very different these days. And so, really tailoring the position or tailoring the resume to the position you're applying to is very, very important. And also having it organized, succinct, concise is also a very important key component because you're not writing an autobiography. You're
Can you
writing
explain
a
to me what is
marketing document, right? Yeah. Yeah. And if your resume is generic, meaning you haven't updated it in 5-10 years, it's a generic therapist resume and you're applying for non-clinical positions, a generic resume, you're going to get generic results because it's going to have all of your clinical skills, which are important, but what are your transferable skills? What is your value proposition? What do you bring to the table? How do you help the organization either make money, save money, improve their patient outcomes, and having tangible examples of that give you credibility on paper is really what's going to open the doors with your resume and your cover letter.
Oh, wow. I was asking earlier, can you tell me what is succinct, please? Just kidding. Well, anyway, so when you do that, when you're positioning that resume or whatever you call it, do you just put whatever in your resume, like what you've been doing, or you really edit them according to the
Mhm.
company you're applying for?
Yes, it's really important to be strategic in the sense of you want the document to show the relevant skills and experience that you have to the position that you're applying to. And that's also very important with the applicant tracking system, the ATS tracking system, which is the system that a lot of large organizations use to filter through the volume of resumes that they get. And so having keywords and key terms in the right places and indicating that you have the correct experience is so important for content and context, as well as research shows that talent acquisition and hiring managers typically look at a resume for between 5 to 7 seconds. And so if you have a 6-page resume and a lot of the prior history, work history is more than 10 years old and not pertinent to the position that you're applying to, that's going to impact your chances of getting through that ATS tracking system and also losing the attention of the reader because the most important skills and experience, core proficiencies and accomplishments and outcomes need to be pertinent to the position that you're applying to.
Amazing. You were the strategy. I mean, and then ATS. What's ATS? Can you tell us what is that?
Yeah, so it's an applicant tracking system. So it basically is a computer program that reads, it screens or it reads your resume. So it's something that happens before your document actually gets into the hands of a hiring manager or talent acquisition. And so what's important about that is both content, context, layout, resumes that have a lot of graphics or distracting photos or are a bunch of columns. A lot of times the ATS tracking system cannot read those properly. And so that can impact the ability for you to actually get through and have your document scanned appropriately to get through to the hiring manager. And I've actually seen this happen on the other end working with human resources in one of my positions where we had a nurse apply for a position and a current employee said, "Hey, look for my colleague's resume. She applied 2 weeks ago. I hadn't seen it on my end. I had to talk to human resources and say, hey, have you seen the resume for, Jane nurse? I haven't seen it come through. I heard that she applied 2 weeks ago." And what ended up happening is her resume was very poorly written, not very organized. And what ended up happening is she didn't get through that ATS tracking system. And had I not known she specifically applied, I would have never come across her document. So that is an example of how that works.
Is that I guess it's a computer software, right? That
It is.
what you call this? So you mentioned about columns and everything. In my resume before, I mean, obviously now I've learned from you and Guy and all the stuff that you're teaching. I used to have like a column and everything, and then put it in a. So that's not recommended.
I think there are ATS compliant ones with columns, but for me specifically, I find it really distracting. I like the traditional layout. I mean, we read left to right. If I'm having to scan up and down a bunch of columns to find the pertinent information that I need to see that if this person has the skills and qualifications, I find that a little bit distracting. There are ways that you can strategically put graphs and statistics in a resume that is ATS compliant, but you do have to be a little bit careful in how you add those things into your documents.
So how do you know if they are using an ATS? How does that work?
Well, there really isn't. I would say the majority of large hospital systems do have an ATS tracking system because
Mhm.
there's no way that talent acquisition or human resources is going to go through the amount of resumes and applicants that they receive. And so basically the ATS tracking system is supposed to screen out people that don't have the keywords, key terms, and experience for that position. So we'll say a CNA applied for an RN position. So the thought is that their resume is not going to say that they have an RN license. And so if it doesn't have those skills and experience, they're going to be filtered out versus that going through and having to have somebody look through a bunch of documents for somebody who isn't qualified for the position.
Amazing. You just have to work around the system, right? So you mentioned about keywords and action words and stuff like that. Do you copy
Mhm.
and paste that and put to your resume? Is that a good technique or strategy? Could you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So if there's a position that you're interested in applying for, one really good strategy is to print off the job description and highlight the specific keywords and key phrases and what exactly they're looking for. Because what you want to do is you want to align your unique value proposition. So what do you bring to the table that's going to meet their needs? What skills do you have that's going to fit what they're looking for? And so in looking at the job description, writing down specific examples of how you have those skills. And I think that the most important thing with a resume too is to be specific and give examples. So if they say they want somebody with good communication skills, I can say, great communication skills on my resume as a bullet point, but what does that really mean? Does that mean I have great written communication skills? Is it great verbal communication skills? Is it conflict management skills? And then always follow it up with an example. Because if you don't have an example, they're just words that have no meaning. And so I think that that's another really important component of a resume is having examples of how you exude those specific skills and using the action words and action terms strategically. So saying, developed this program, these were the outcomes, implemented, educated, and using some strategic language like that with specific outcomes instead of saying generic terms like I was responsible for, because then you're just regurgitating and reiterating what you did in a role that says nothing about you and your performance.
Wow, those are value bombs there, ladies and gentlemen. Those are value bombs. Did you hear what she said? You got to be specific, ladies and gentlemen, when you're writing down your thing, your resume. It needs to be measurable too. How about when you say, "Hey, I help patients." Well, guess what? Everybody helps patients. It needs to be measurable. That you had 100% success on that launch of your product or whatever. And attainable. You
Mhm.
put down something that is not really attainable. It's like, you put down a goal of we launched 1,000 clinics. Is that really attainable? Well, for some people, and realistic too. Some people they're exaggerating. They're exaggerating their resume, and then this ain't true. You got to be really honest but strategic, and be good in whatever you're typing up there in your resume. Joan, uh, could you please share us what is car statement and making bullet points? What's that? You mentioned here.
So when we write resumes, we focus on what's called a CAR statement. So it's an acronym, CAR, and the C stands for challenge, the A is action, and the R is result. And so what you want to do when you're writing a chronological resume and you're talking about your experience is you want to focus on using those action words and those terms with specific examples of what you addressed and then also the outcome. So an example might be managed a caseload of 30 patients, completing documentation on time 100% of the time. And
Mm.
so that to me says a lot more than completed documentation timely. So you're giving a specific example that's measurable and an outcome that shows your performance.
Wow. And what is the bullet point thing? You just put that bam 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 bam. Hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's important too with the bullets if you're talking about your prior work history, making sure that you have, 4 to 5 bullet points under each job position. And then usually when we write a resume, we have a section. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does not need to be an autobiography. And if it's written strategically, we try to keep professional resumes at around 2 pages, unless it's a curriculum vitae or somebody that has pretty extensive management and leadership experience where we need to expand beyond that 2 pages because
Oh,
6 seconds
okay.
is not a lot of time.
Yeah. Could you tell me what's the difference between a resume and a CV?
Absolutely. So a resume, like I said, usually 2 pages. I find it very difficult to do a professional resume in 1 page. A curriculum vitae is typically for in our field, it would be more for somebody who is in education, or they are a professor, or they've had a lot of publications. They are a public speaker. They've written continuing education courses or specific content, and usually there's a reason to have a curriculum vitae. So it might be to apply for. I just wrote one actually not too long ago for a DPT physical therapist who is applying for a PhD program, and so her curriculum
I
vitae.
actually prepared one when yeah. So
Yeah, and those are pretty. They can be pretty lengthy. I would say 4 to 5 pages typically, in my experience, because you go through the clinical experience, but then if you have professor experience, educator, publications, all of those things would be on the curriculum vitae.
wow. Yeah. So speaking of that, I remember you already mentioned applying for DPT or PhD or whatever. Uh, I mean, just out of nowhere, do you recommend having like an online resume too, like a website, or and you're putting down your name, your experience, and everything? You'll like about me or something like that, like a small one
Mm.
pager. Do you recommend that, like a
You know,
LinkedIn website or something like that? Or I have that.
We are big proponents of LinkedIn. So we really, Tanya and I, she's a little bit more of the LinkedIn specialist than I, but
It
LinkedIn is
connects, right? See, I mean,
Yes. So LinkedIn is a great way to, because you can have your resume active on LinkedIn, but it's a great way also to have to make connections, of course, professional connections, but to have your career and your work history available and, online. So if you're seeking a position or, you're looking to make connections, or you're a business owner and you want to strategically market your clinic or services, LinkedIn, I think, is really the best way to have your information and your professional resume available online.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. A lot of us here, even the actual Facebook page, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of us here in the therapy world, we're like, oh, I want to separate my therapy life to, to my business life, to my guess what? People will look you up. People will look you up, ladies and gentlemen. If your face, even let's just say just your Facebook profile, 99.9% of your patients, your clients, even that HR director will probably look you up. They're going to look you up whether in Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the professional way, obviously, right?
Mhm.
Facebook, if you have a what you call this, a Hello Kitty picture or your dog in your Facebook profile with your actual name on it, well, guess what? You're going to change because they're going to look you up. Same thing with your LinkedIn. Check out your LinkedIn. Is it that has the right name? The spelling in your description below, does it have correct spelling or wrong spelling? It's your online resume. And yes, well, I'm putting up my resume out there. Well, guess what? Everybody knows when you graduated anyway. Everybody knows where your school is at. It's going to be out there anyway. And the goal here is to obviously not sell your information, but to connect with those what you call this, those HR directors, those CEOs, those different leaders in the industry that you want to connect. Am I correct, Joanne?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. LinkedIn is definitely a wonderful platform for whether you're searching for a position or whether you're just using it professionally for your business or just making connections. We are big supporters and proponents of using LinkedIn. There's great ways that you can search for positions and apply. You can research organizations on LinkedIn. It's a great tool to cast your net a little bit wider if you are on an active job search. There's also ways to use it for what we call the hidden job market, which is
Mhm.
positions that are not advertised, not posted, and ones where positions might be opening up. They want to hire within. You can learn, you can leverage, your relationships and your professional network by connecting with people, and then you'll sometimes have a way into other positions you didn't know existed.
It's funny you mentioned that. Most of the alternative jobs that you can find are actually the jobs that you will create. You got to learn how to create the job. Gone are the times that, or there's always a traditional job. Okay, I'm gonna go apply for a 9 to 5 physical therapy job or OT job. It You have to learn how to find and connect and create that actual job. In LinkedIn, that's where I found my coach, my author coach, my speaker coach. That's where I found them. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, I also found them in Facebook, but the way we've connected there in LinkedIn, and it's just amazing because, to be honest, it's like leaders and CEOs of those certain companies. And if you really want to get in and be influential inside that company, reach out to those people in LinkedIn. Facebook, I mean, it's okay. Twitter, it's okay.
Mhm.
Tag here left and right. It's really like more like a social media, fun stuff. But if you're really serious about it, LinkedIn is the way to go. I'm not very active there. I'm active here in Facebook, but I've learned a lot in LinkedIn. I've learned a lot. That's where I initially started my podcasting. That's where I reached out to other people how to start podcasting. So yeah, Joanie, you also mentioned here writing effective cover letter. Do we really need cover letters, and does it need to be effective? Is it really important, or what? Could you share us your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I truly believe that having an organized and well written cover letter is very professional. And I think, again, it's a marketing document. So it's introducing you, it's an opener to say why you're applying for the position, what your drivers are, what you're passionate about, what skills you have, and putting a couple of bullet pointed accomplishments in a cover letter is a really, really good introduction. The other thing that's really helpful in a cover letter is if you can align your passions and interests and also skills and abilities with that of the organization. I really wanted to work for Providence nonprofit because I really am invested in the mission of caring for the poor and vulnerable. That's just an example. And so to me, if I read that cover in a cover letter, I'm thinking this is somebody who's really invested in this position. It's somebody that doesn't just want a job, they want a career. They want to work here. And so there's somebody that's worth the time because they put the time and the effort into writing this strategically. And so cover letters are not outdated. I still think that they're very important and very pertinent.
Wow, that is so true, ladies and gentlemen. That is so true. You need to have a cover letter. You know what? Because like what what's her Jo- like what Joan said. The cover letter is like your intro marketing letter, ladies and gentlemen. The just like when you're what you call this, when you're eating out, right? You got the, what do you call this, the
Appetizer?
appetizer.
Yeah.
Yep, that's your appetizer. And guess what? Your main course is actually a resume. You know what? And we're talking about food because I'm hungry, right? Well, I already ate. Gosh, my personal trainer slash DPT student will get mad at me. But what you call this? You got your appetizer, you got your main course. Well, guess what? Joanne or Joan, could you please tell us what's a dessert? like a follow-up thing. How
Oh,
do we follow
dessert.
up with this
Mhm, mhm.
HR people?
Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely. So I think, being able to reach back out and do a thank you email. I look forward to hearing from you. Please let me know if I can forward my references. That would
Mm.
be the dessert. And
Oh God, I love
yes,
that.
after the meal would then be, the interview. So if you're able to land an interview, next step would be preparing for that.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you very much for pointing that out. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you need to have a good cover letter, okay? Good cover letter. After that, your good resume with all the keywords and all the, how to work around the ATS system. And you make sure you gotta have to have good dessert. Follow up with the HR, send them a card, hey, do you want me to send you my reference? And then the interview itself. So speaking of interview, we are gonna come back in a few minutes. Okay, we'll be back.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.
Yes, that is HelloNote, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, we use HelloNote in our documentation system in our outpatient clinic. If you are interested in using HelloNote, type in hellonote.com. Well, I don't own it, somebody owns it. We're just promoting it. But yeah, use HelloNote for our outpatient clinic. And yes, tonight we're interviewing Joan Johnson. She's an occupational therapist with all these fancy degrees, letters behind her name. Basically, she's got this awesome company where she teaches people and guide and coach them how to write their resume, write a good cover letter, and follow up and everything. So earlier we're talking about the appetizer, your cover letter, your resume, and then your dessert, and then the interview. So that's our thing for tonight. We're interviewing her. But before we keep on going, we're just gonna show this real quick video.
So much today from Dr. Mike Chua's Certified Dementia Practitioner live seminar. Not only was it about facts on how to help as a therapist treat those with dementia or memory deficits, but it was also about how to talk to family members, how to talk to caregivers, how to interact with the nursing staff in the hospital, and really how to present myself as a certified dementia practitioner. If you're looking to broaden your skill set with becoming a certified dementia practitioner, I highly recommend Dr. Mike Chua's seminar.
Hello, my name is Nina Chokashvili. I am support group facilitator leader and a specialist and a Alzheimer's educator. So I just completed Dr. Mike Chua's 2-day class, which one was the best class. First.
Yes, she said it's the best. It's only the best because you guys are the best. the students that attends the class, it's just amazing. I'm not only teaching, I'm actually learning. Not only learning from me talking, I'm learning from them. Because the people who are attending, they're like winners. They're like game changers. They're like stepping up to the next level, not because they've attended the class, but they've taken the first action by actually attending the class and teaching with me and just being the best that they can be. So again, it's like what I said, it's only the best because the people who are, or the students that are attending, are just really awesome, smart, excellent, and just amazing group of people. So yeah, tonight we are interviewing what you call this Joan Johnson, and how to write your perfect resume, and basically asking her on what she does in her business, how she supports people and stuff like that. And before I keep on going, before I forget, this is our website, alternative Alzheimer's disease and dementia care seminar, where we just finished that last weekend, actually, the 24th, and we're going to teach it again next May. We teach it every month as long as we reach the amount number of students that are attending. All right, so again, tonight we are interviewing Joan Johnson, wherein we ask her how to write your perfect resume. Where's she at? Let's go ahead and bring her back. Joan, could you please tell us what is that? She said one thing, another thing that we can talk about is confidence. So could you please tell us, Joan, how can we project confidence in during interviews? So we talked about the intro letter, the cover letter, the resume, and then your follow up. And then, of course, if you're watching right now, pointing at you, you're listening, you will eventually get that interview. Yes, you may feel like you're ghosted. Yes, you feel like you've been rejected, but you will eventually get that interview if you get Joan's services. Joan, how can we project confidence, sister?
Well, I think confidence really also starts with the resume. So when we work with our clients on writing the resumes for them, it's a pretty collaborative process. We spend a lot of time with them on the phone, really getting to know them and going through their work history, skills, and experience. And what Tanya and I find is that a lot of clinicians do not give themselves enough credit. They feel like they're being boastful, they're bragging about themselves, they're being very modest about their accomplishments and what they've done. And in these conversations, it's been very eye-opening because we've been able to talk to a lot of nurses, physicians, therapists who have done some really amazing things. And in having these conversations, there are things that aren't even on their resume, that it's like, wow, let's put that as an accomplishment, or let's tell me more about that. And that's the part about making sure that your document really reflects your skills and experience, because you're more than a therapist. You're more than a license number. You're more than, I've only been treating patients for 15 years. You're a lot more than that. And so, I think that takes a different mindset, but it also takes strategic writing to be able to pull out and highlight some of those key skills and experiences, because we get resumes from people, and when, the before and after is pretty impressive when we've talked to them and we know their history, their skills and experience, and are really able to expand on that strategically to show, what they bring to the table and their unique value proposition and what they have to offer.
Oh, wow. I love what you said there. I'm just going to reiterate it. A lot of clinicians don't give themselves enough credit, ladies and gentlemen. Go get a credit card. No, I was just kidding. A lot of us here, it's like Joan said, you got so much in you, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching right now. You got so much potential that you are shortchanging yourself. I'm like, I'm not sure if I need to put. No, I mean, yes, there's a time and place for being modest, for being humble, but this is the time for you to impress them, to impress upon them that, hey, I can do this too. Now, this is the time. There's a reason why in websites there's what you call about me section, about the company section. That's the time for them to boast, not really boast, tell them about themselves. And you're applying for this job, and then you're letting them know, hey, I'm qualified to help you. I'm qualified to save you money. I'm qualified to increase your profit. I'm qualified to bring out the best in your clients. I'm qualified. I'm qualified. I'm qualified. And most of us here, we're like, oh, I don't feel like I'm worthy and qualified. No, you are. First of all, you got the license. All right. You are already a winner. You passed that freaking board exam. You're already here in the States, right? You got all the opportunities here. You know, you got the looks. All of us here in our group, all good-looking people, right, Joanne? Joan, all
Absolutely.
good-looking. I mean, I see all your picture in the Facebook page. I'm like, gosh, we are all good-looking people here. Well, except for one person, of course. Who she is. But you know what I mean. I'm just kidding. But you have the looks. You got the degree. You got the title. What you just don't have is the job right now. And the key here is just trying to bring back that confidence. And you got this, ladies and gentlemen. You got this. Joan, could you please tell us, again, you were talking about confidence.
Mhm.
After creating that awesome resume, after creating that awesome cover letter, and we've impressed, we've, created a communication and impact on that HR person or whoever, the CEO. How do I go to this interview? Do you also coach them how to do this, the interview and everything like that?
We do. Yeah, we do quite a bit of interview coaching. So,
Do you ask
in
them to wear something, stand up during the phone call or something like that? Do you do that?
No, well, actually, we do behavioral interview coaching that's by Zoom, and it is using a specific strategy that helps people articulate their answers in an interview and prep for behavioral interviewing questions, which are situational. They're often situational multi-tiered questions, which can be very overwhelming for people to think on their feet and be prepared for those types of questions, which is one of the reasons why interview coaching tends to be pretty successful and help people be able to answer questions, situational questions, in a very organized way to make the best first impression that they can during the interview.
Oh, I love that. Behavioral interview coaching. All right, by the word itself, behavioral interview coaching. Well, so I mean, most of us here we get nervous,
Mhm.
during interviews. When I applied here in the States, I don't know. First, I don't know how to speak English that time. It's like, "Hello, how are you?" That's it, and I just smile. You notice that most Filipinos and foreigners like me, we just smile because we're still analyzing things in our head and translating everything. Oh, the person is asking me this question I cannot understand, and I'm nervous. So
Mhm.
how can we remove that nervousness, Joan?
Mhm. Well, I think that one of the most important key components is just to take your time and breathe. Make sure that you're understanding the question that's being asked and be prepared in the sense of coming up with some specific situations that you've encountered, specific experiences that you've had that relate to that job description and that role. So, if you're applying for a position, we'll take a leadership or management position as an example. So maybe you haven't been a leadership or a manager or supervisor before, but maybe you have some skills and experience. So, being able to, before the interview, write down all the experiences that you've had, committees that you've been on, people that you've mentored, and also coming up with some challenging situations, because a lot of the behavioral interview questions are going to say, tell me about a situation where you encountered a conflict with a patient or a colleague. What was the conflict and what was the outcome? So the structure of the questions is multiple tiers like that. And what they're trying to gauge is, are you somebody that can think on your feet? Are you somebody who can remain calm and professional and articulate in different situations? And do you have a problem solving approach? And can I trust you in these types of situations? And being specific is very important, not just saying this is what I would do, but having like a difficult patient situation in mind. Who is your most challenging customer that you have had? Maybe you had an argument with a colleague. What happened? And so having that mindset of potential questions that they'll ask you. And then the behavioral interview coaching that we do, we use the STAR behavioral interview approach, which is another acronym. And so it's situation, task, assessment, and then STA, and then outcome. And so basically what STAR is a way to articulate your answers in a way and formulate them so that you're organized during that behavioral interview coaching.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. You mentioned about taking your time and breathing. So that's very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. We forget that. We try to hold our breath. Then when you're holding your breath, you're increasing that pressure inside your body. When you're increasing that pressure inside your body, guess what? You lose the blood flow to your brain. You're increasing your blood pressure. There's no circulation of blood. There's no oxygenation to your brain. Well, guess what? You panic. So taking your time, breathe, be interested, ladies and gentlemen. Be interested with the person that you're talking to, and then not interesting. The interesting part is from your resume, but when you're doing the interview, be interested in that person that you're talking to. Joan, one last question. What do you think is the biggest challenge that our group is facing right now, and how do you think we can turn this around? What's the biggest challenge, us therapists, whether it's PT, OT, nurse, or physician that you're serving, what's their biggest challenge, and how are you helping them turn this around, sister?
That's a great question. I would say the majority of our clients, the biggest challenge that we hear from them is that they're not satisfied in their current positions for a variety of reasons. It can be productivity expectations, it can be toxic work environment, it can be lack of opportunity, it can be that, the schedule or the position just doesn't meet where they're at in their life, whatever their why is, family situation, what it is that they need out of their career. And so another area of challenge is just, it is a competitive job market. So I think depending on the types of positions that you're applying to, what your interests are, and what part of the country you're in, there are a lot of applicants for some of these positions that are more coveted. And so, having the resume and the cover letter professionally written, having your LinkedIn optimized, and being prepared for an interview is really it's going to open more doors and also help with your confidence in applying and interviewing for some of these more competitive positions. I think a lot of people that we work with too, some of them just aren't really sure what they want to do. They're unsure if, I still like being a therapist, I still like patient care, but I'm feeling a little bit burnt out. I'm not really sure what else I can do with my degree, or I'm interested in these types of positions, but I'm not really sure if I'm qualified. Should I even bother applying? And so, that's part of the coaching part, is really getting to know clients and understanding, their unique skills and abilities and what their passion and their drivers are to help them, solidify a career direction. And that's really important too, to do before you get your resume and your cover letter, so that you have, an idea of the direction that you want to go, because that's going to be reflected in your documents. And also, if you do get an interview, why are you here? Why are you applying for this position? So I do think that, of course, a lot of the changes that are happening in healthcare, PDGM, PDPM, productivity standards, stress is a huge factor in burnout. And I think a lot of people are feeling that and just wanting to find joy in their work again, whatever that might look like. It might be doing something completely different. We've worked with a lot of people, therapists and nurses, that are actually transitioning into other positions within healthcare. We've worked with some that are going completely out of healthcare. And so, just figuring out what fills your cup, what's going to help you thrive in your work life, in your professional life.
That is so true. That is so true. Again, thank you very much again, Joan. Where can we reach you? Can we reach you in Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever, or website?
Yep, all of them. So it's Polish to Prosper, polishtoprosper.com. And we're affiliates with ACG, so you can find us through their website or our own. And so we provide a variety of services: the resume writing, career coaching, interview coaching, LinkedIn optimization, and job search help.
All right. Again, thank you very much, Joan. Any last parting wisdom for our group? Any special encouragement for them?
I am an for our professions. I think there's a lot of opportunity with a little bit of strategy and some patience. I think that there's still a lot of doors that can be opened. So I encourage you all to continue on your job search and find joy in your work again.
Amazing. Again, thank you very much, Joan. Appreciate you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Joan Johnson. She's an OTR. She's a career coach. Check out her website, polishedtoprosper.com. But before I let you go, yep, I just want to dance. Well, you know what? When you're applying for a job, it's like dancing too. You got to learn how to dance with the beat, right? Well, earlier we had the analogy of eating. We got to learn how to dance, burn that calories. But, when you're applying for a job, you got to learn how to dance. Dance with the music, be interested, not interesting. All right, so before I let you go, always remember the word FAST, F-A-S-T. Letter F, find friends that will push you to your next level because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So who are you hang out with? Tonight I hang out with the awesome Joan Johnson. I feel like I can be a career coach. I feel like I can be polished to prosper. I think she needs to polish my resume. Now, what do you think, Joan? Make me as your guinea pig. All right, so letter F, find friends that will push you to your next level. And you know what? The next letter is letter A. You got to learn how to take action. All the stuff that we're doing is not going to do me good. It's not even going to do you good, and even Joan good. If you don't take action by going to our website, polishedtoprosper.com, or our website, alternativehealthcarecareer.com, and then reach out to them, reach out to the people who are actually behind the scene. Because imperfect action beats perfect in action. Right? You got to take action, ladies and gentlemen. You know what's the next letter? Is letter S. It's shoot for the moon, right? Shoot for the moon. Why? Because you're going to miss it. When you miss it, you're going to be landing with the stars. Well, guess what? You're going to be rejected, to be honest. Even if you have the best resume, even though you have the best cover letter, you got the best follow-up, whatever, your character reference, they really recommended you. If it's not for you, it's not really for you. Well, guess what? Will that stop you from finding your alternative career? No, you just keep pushing. Now, here's the thing. If you keep pushing, you're not adjusting and adapting, that's a different story. If you're doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result, that's called insanity. But if you keep on doing it again and again and adjusting and adapting, like what Joan is saying, you're going to eventually get it too. All right, so keep shooting because eventually you're going to be landing with the stars. And you know what? What's the last letter on the word fast? Letter T is you teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, ladies and gentlemen, you're actually understanding it more. And that's what Joan is doing. She's teaching you how to find your alternative career. Again, thank you very much. We will see you again next week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Joan. Appreciate you. Again, thank you very much. We will see you again next week. Same time, same channel. Be awesome, be great, be excellent. And we'll see you next week, my Facebook friends and YouTube friends too. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.